Hey guys, Brian Delovier the Goods here. I don't know how long this album review is going to be, but I'm going to try to make it as good as possible for this new Jeezy album. I might forgive, but I don't forget. I know this is 2 weeks. I'm a little late to this review because this came out 2 weeks ago on November 3rd, I believe. So, pretty much, I'm going to discuss what I listened to for Jeezy's new album. I might forgive, but I don't forget, for his new 2023 album, and let you know my thoughts on all 29 songs for this album, for this 87-minute album. So let's dive right into this album review. Now it starts with the opening track, I Might Forgive. Technically, he should have said I Might Forgive, but I don't forget as the title itself. He should have put that as the title. Then I probably would have been really interested, but still, great track. It's really good. I really like how Jeezy's rapping in this track mostly. I have not heard this artist since the Recession album, and maybe a song or so after that, but honestly, I haven't really followed Jeezy. He was known as Young Jeezy for a while, but now he's called Jeezy. He changed it recently, maybe a few years ago or something like that, but still, I actually do like this artist for what he goes for with his music. So basically, he's a good hip hop artist that I've listened to in the modern rap stuff. So basically, 5 out of 5 for I Might Forgive. The title track is really good. My Name was a solid track. There are some repetitious moments with Jeezy singing the same lyric, and it kind of repeats itself a few times. When the chorus comes in, it just gets a little repetitious and all that. So it was an alright track. I didn't hate the song for what it sounded like, but overall, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. No Complaining is a solid one too, meaning it's good in its own way. I don't hate this track for what it goes for, but I have my critiques with some aspects in the track that kind of made me cringe. So overall, I think Jeezy's rapping was the best part, and melody-wise, it was iffy. So 4.5 out of 5. They don't love me. Excuse my yawning, guys. I know it's really late doing this review, but I want to try to get this review done, and hopefully you will enjoy it. They Don't Love Me is a good track, but it does have its problems with some of the melody and how it turned out, and just the way Jeezy's singing and rapping in it. There are some cringe moments through the track with his singing and rapping, depending on the area in the track. Mostly the chorus kind of really doesn't really strike me as great. So 4.5 out of 5. Trust No One was a pretty good song. I really enjoyed Jeezy's rapping. It sounded really good, and production-wise, it did pretty well. So 5 out of 5. This is a good track. I really enjoyed it. Sad was a pretty good song. I actually did enjoy this one. So this is a 5 out of 5 for me as well. The melody kind of interests me. Pretty much majority of the songs are pretty short. There may be a few tracks during the album that are over 4 minutes, but even the last song is the longest. But it did execute well. So basically, 5 out of 5 for Sad. Couldn't lose if I tried. I am so sorry for yawning. I'm really tired. I'm going to be going to bed in a couple minutes or so. So, after this review, of course. So, basically, Couldn't Lose If I Tried is a good track. It's solid, but it does have its weak points as the track progresses on. So, this is going to be a 4.5 out of 5. I don't know. This one I wasn't connecting with for some odd reason. Rewrite History kind of was just generic, but alright, I guess. And some repetitious moments with Jeezy's rapping. and just how he flows in the chorus, it just is like slightly forgettable, but alright, I guess, in its own way. So 4.5 out of 5. Never Had a Bad Day in My Life is a good song. I don't hate this track, I just have my critiques with it. So 4.5 out of 5 with some of the melody and just mostly how the overall track sounds with Jeezy rapping and singing during the track. So it has its hit and miss moments. So 4.5 out of 5. This Too Shall Pass is a solid track. There are some moments where, I mean, the song structure is not bad, but it's the execution with certain moments in the track that kind of stumble a bit in its own way. I still think it's a good track, but it's not really. It's still a little bit of a least favorite. So 4.5 out of 5. Don't Deserve Me is a pretty good track. I really enjoyed this song for how it sounded. So this is a 5 out of 5. I really like this song, and it performed pretty well. If I'm being honest, is a pretty good track. I think Jeezy's rapping in it is pretty good, and just overall the melody sounded really amazing. So this is a good track. 5 out of 5. Don't Cheat. I mean, the melody was kind of slow paced, and I wasn't really feeling for it, but I think it did all right for what it was going for. His rapping was this highlight to it, but overall, the track as a whole has its issues with some of the slow melody. So 4.5 out of 5. Shine on Me is a good track, just I am not liking the music playing in the background of the track that just I don't know if I can feel for, but it's okay, I guess. So this is a 4.5 out of 5 as well. Keep the Change. I'm not sure if I like Jeezy's rapping in it, and some of the chorus is kind of a little hit or miss. So it's not great, but I don't hate it. So 4.5 out of 5. Delusional was one of the 4-minute tracks for this album, and I think it did pretty well. So this is a good track, 5 out of 5. It's a really strong track. I like Jeezy's rapping in it, and overall the production and the mixing is pretty well done for this song. So really digging this song. Nothing to Prove is a pretty good track. I like Jeezy's rapping in it too. I think overall the song structure sounds quite on point, and just there are some moments where I could really feel for this song. So 5 out of 5. Titanic did have some trap beats that did sound pretty good in this song, and just overall the way Jeezy is rapping in it, it does pretty well. So this sounded pretty good. So 5 out of 5. Everything About Me Is True is a pretty good track. So I'd give this a 5 out of 5. There are some repetitious moments with how he repeats everything about me is true, and other lyrics that he repetitively repeats. But it's still a good track for how it sounded. Execution wise, it did perform pretty well. Expectations is a pretty good track, so I'd give this a 5 out of 5. I like how it sounds overall, and just it's not a very long song, but it does get the job done. Claim to Fame is a decent song. I think this is one of the weak songs for the album. That's going to ruin the rating a little bit, but not to the point where I hate this song. So 4 out of 5. I don't know, I just wasn't connecting with this one too much. What I Gotta Do is a good track in its own way. Just have my critiques with some moments in the track with certain melody structures and how they sound throughout the song. But overall, it's not a terrible song. So 4.5 out of 5. My Intentions was a good track. Just there's some moments where Jeezy's vocals don't really connect on this track, but I think they do all right in its own way. So this is a 4.5 out of 5. Never Be a Fan is a good track. Just I don't know, some of this song kind of goes by pretty quick for the 3 minutes of a runtime, but it's good in its own way. So 4.5 out of 5. Sade, or Sade, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's about the artist Sade, is what he's singing about, that we could play Sade. It's a more sexual kind of track, which I don't really hate this song. It's just not my cup of tea with some of the melody and how it structurally sounds. So 4.5 out of 5. Don't Let Up is a good track. I don't hate this song. I just don't really see anything likable about certain sections, but there are some good points through the track. There's just some iffy points through the remainder of the track. So 4.5 out of 5. I think it's mostly the chorus that I couldn't really get on board with. Since Pac Died is a good song, talking about Tupac and other things like that. Pretty interesting song as a memorial kind of thing is how I'm perceiving it. So this is a good track, 4.5 out of 5. There are some melody structures that were iffy, but still the track and what its message was pretty interesting, and I was really invested with this track a bit. Free Champagne is a good song in its own way. Just it's the second to last song before you get to the closing track, which is the best closing track to end the album. So 4.5 out of 5 for Free Champagne. It kind of does drag on a bit for the 3-minute runtime, but it's alright. And finally, No Choice is the closing track to this album, and it did pretty well. I think this was Jeezy's best song to end this album. So this is a 5 out of 5 for me. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I found myself thinking this was a good album from Jeezy. Good album in its own way. I think the Claim to Fame was my least favorite. And some of the 4.5 out of 5 songs were hit or miss, but overall, I think song structure-wise, I think he hit it right in the nail with this album. I wouldn't say this is my favorite album this year, but it is a good album in its own way. So for a score for me, I think I'm going to give Jeezy's I Might Forgive, But I Don't Forget album an 8 out of 10. This is a good album. Highly recommend you check this album out for yourself to see what you think of it. It's came out November 3rd, so it came out 2 weeks ago. I mean, some Jeezy fans have already listened to this album. And I'm going to be reviewing some other albums from Andre 3000 and E40, I think is another artist. I think those are the only albums, and the Lacey Stern album that I want to check out. So basically, 8 out of 10 for Jeezy's new album, I Might Forgive, But I Don't Forget. I'm glad I actually got a chance to check this out, and I will be reviewing Voyager's new album when I get the chance. If I can't get around to it, then it's probably going to be a skip for me mostly. So basically, with that being said, thank you for watching this review tonight. Have a good night.